Good afternoon, everyone. Um, as every Friday, we have our master class on subjects um, related to the credit money machine and the CRMRUS software. Um, in today's master class, we're going to talk about the invoice system. Okay, and let me be sure that everything is working okay, neatly, and I will start immediately as soon as I know that everybody is watching correctly. Okay, I'm just checking, being sure. Okay, so I know at least that you're hearing me, and hopefully you will be seeing me too. You need to refresh the page, you know that, in order to make it work. So be sure that you have refresh the page, and yeah, everything says here that we're live, so we should be live, I guess. Okay. Okay. As I said, we're going to talk today about the invoice system and so many tricks. And actually, even though this is a master class, still I will have to uh, omit uh, some of the more advanced options because it will take us little more time that we have available. But most importantly, well, I'll do it in another session. So for those of you that still are in the old, I know for a fact that people are watching now. So if you are still not seeing the screen, be sure to refresh. Okay. So well, okay. So depending on the version, we're going to have the access to the invoice system in many ways. Essentially, we have access through the through the finance tab right here, invoice, okay? And but if you are in the expert view in the ultimate version, we have access to the invoices from here, okay? And also from the financial area here and here, invoice system. I'm gonna try to use the simpler system for now, unless I need this for something, just so you don't get overwhelmed with so much data. But at the same time, again, this all this data gives you so much power because everything is under, um, under the radar. You can access every part of the program with ease, which is just a little bit more uh, I would say, more steps here to access the different parts because, well, we need to change the tabs, etc. Another things are related to news. We're going to have very, very soon, maybe from by next week, um, a new system that we're going to offer that is going to be incredible for smaller companies and even for large ones because it's called synchronized credit, and it's a new way to do a credit repair that essentially avoid being a credit repair company. At the same time, you're going to be able, even being a small company, to handle uh, hundreds or even thousands of clients with ease and under control, even if your workforce is reduced. Even one person can do a lot. So we'll do a special presentation for this, and hopefully we can do it by next week. And also we'll talk in another session about the synchronization system that will be really a blessing for salespeople that um, that are in different places, like in different states or even different countries. So, all right. So if you don't see the top marking well, fortunately, this is something related to the Hangout. So I don't know. We'll see how we can fix that in future webinars. But at this moment, that's the way it is. Okay, so we were talking about accessing. So when you click the invoice button, right, finance and then invoice, you have three options essentially. One option is to go to the invoices, selecting invoices from current client, which is usually what you want to do, and that's why is the option number one. And that's why you can click also enter instead of clicking with the mouse. Remember, it is the rightmost option, so it's the one that by default will be accepted by the enter. So you click enter, this one will be selected automatically, allowing you to click here and click enter without having to come with your mouse. Not a big deal, for sometimes you save a couple of seconds of moving your mouse. It's everything is about effectiveness and reducing time. Selecting voices from selected clients is the number two, very powerful option. You have a group of clients that for whatever reason you want to find their invoices. You can click the number two, and they, obviously, if you are selecting all the clients, this could take a little bit of time because the process. But if you have a small group, and when I say small, I mean even 100 would be small. Then it's very useful. Third one, go to invoices preserving the previous invoice group selection. Also very useful. Sometimes you are in a group of invoices in the invoice system and you have to come back to the client's area or any other area for that matter, the template manager or whatever. You need to do something else. You receive a call, for example, and then you want to go back to the exact position that you were before related to the invoices. In that case, number 3 is your number. And then, of course, you can also cancel. Additionally to that, if you click with a shift in the invoice here, so instead of what I did, that is clicking without pressing any other key, but if you click with shift, you will go like you don't want to select without searching, basically. Okay, and so that makes it also very useful. The same thing when you go to with Control 5. When you go with Control 5 here, you see the shortcuts. I'm sorry, Control 0. I don't know what I said, Control 5. Sorry for that. When you go with Control 0, you go to the invoices without searching. So this is kind of a shortcut, and in fact, it's a shortcut. But in addition to being a shortcut, it's a shortcut that you want to keep in mind. Here we have an indicator. This option is checked. Okay, invoices, and this is just an indicator. Okay, if this option is checked, invoices from this contact will show the invoice notes in red. This can be used to indicate that the invoice requires data found in the contact database. Obviously, other uses are possible. So again, you mark that when you want to put up to another person, kind of even for yourself, of course, you want that the notes, the invoice notes for this contact will be in red, making it relevant or making it kind of a highlight for another person to be aware of that something had to be done. And whatever is your convention that you do with your employees, well, this is the action that it takes place. By the way, I'm sure that you know that in order for me to pop up this tooltip, I pressed, you see the button, the instruction, hold the Alt key before hovering to see the tooltip in the Windows dialog. So if you press and hold the Alt key and hover on top of this one or any other one with that particular functionality, you will have this, and then you can copy, which can be used when you copy it. You can maybe use this text to put it in a short mini help that you can create for yourself. Okay, so now let's go and talk about the invoices for real. When we enter, we have a double system of invoices, in service invoices and product invoices. We're going to talk about the service and the products also, but mostly the service because are the ones that are, I wouldn't say most useful, um, um, but it's going to be probably the ones that you use the most, not necessarily the most useful. First thing, of course, you will add one. Yeah, you already add one here, okay? So I can modify this one, of course, because it still is a quotation. I wouldn't be able to modify it if it was an invoice or if it was paid or voided. But if it's a quotation, still I have chance to modify this. So ways to enter data here. Okay, so ways are by typing, for example. So I can say one shirt and one shirt blue at $10, and I can say service done is on the box, whatever. Anything that you put here, we have a system that can add and even produce a discount if you want. For example, I can say less 5% discount. Okay, and then because I have the dollar sign and the dollar sign here, I can calculate all that. You see, press enter and have the total calculated. So it's 110 less 5% discount is 104.50. Okay, that only happens if you have the dollar sign here. So if you don't want to calculate that, so for example, I can say was 20, or I can put it at the end, was $20. Well, $20 here wouldn't be so nice, but I can say definitely 20 like this, and this one wouldn't be taken into account because it's not close to the number. Okay, so if I click on that, well, actually it did, and I don't know, to be honest, why. I don't know why this 20 had been taken in consideration. It shouldn't, in fact, but it may be affecting because it's the same line. Must be affecting and doing something weird. Let's see here. Yeah. So you see this one has not been taken in consideration, but for the logic of the system, well, it detected that the conditions were met, so it did that. But in fact, if you put it in a different line, whatever, it does not. So so you can do combinations of adding and a discount, whatever, and that's one way to enter the data. Another way to enter the data is by means of the snippets. As you know, the snippets in other parts of the program are simply places, or it's an area where you can enter as many as you want, and this could be a text that can be inserted into this with one click. So essentially, let me close this, and I'm going to let's say that I sell this package very frequently. I can put this package here. Let's say this package, meaning that this group of things, which doesn't make sense really, but just to give you an idea, and you can have unlimited, right? So you can have another one that is, this one will be a 20 and maybe a 15 discount and 300, whatever. So you can have anything here, and then you can add it to the service invoice with one click. And by doing that, you see now I click calculate and I have 274 to 74 because they have 20 and 300, so 320 less 15% is hopefully 272. So that's another way, and it's a very powerful way to work with snippets and the service invoices. And another important thing, when you're creating an invoice, we have a feature that is pretty unique, pretty powerful, and pretty dangerous. And this, when I click Add, and I click Services, for example, you see you can create an invoice from the current client or for selected client. Be warned, if you choose selected, then you could create hundreds of invoices with one click, obviously, because if you have hundreds of contacts selected at that moment, okay, it's only to work with the selected ones. It might be 3. That's okay. It might be 10. But imagine that you need to do the same invoice to many people. This could save you hours of work, okay, because you will be creating all of them with one click. I'm not going to do it for 100, but I can select a small group like 2 or 3. Okay, so I'm going to go here and select. I'm going to select these 3 right here. I'm going to do it like this. Actually, I'm going to put 4 here. Bow and this. So now I have 4 selected. Okay. And I'm going to go to the email system by clicking Control 5. Sorry, Control 0. I don't know. Then I click Services, select it, and now you need to select a snippet. And obviously you need to select the snippets, otherwise the program wouldn't know what to click. So if whatever you need to click, you need to prepare the snippet first. And let's say that is this one. Okay, and now we click, and now we created these 5, and they are already invoiced. They are not quotations, so you don't need to change them. They are these 5, okay? These are 4, sorry, they're 5 because we have 5. But at these 4, for these 4 agents, clients selected, I created 5 invoices. So think about it, what you can do in real life. That could mean that you can create 100. If you are, for example, servicing clients and you're charging them the same amount every month, and you are that you send invoices to these clients every month, well, that would be maybe by mail or maybe by email, whatever. But whatever is the case, you need to create 100 invoices in other systems. Well, you need to do 100 invoices. That's it, and it will take you a lot of time, probably even days if you have enough clients. Certainly, you can do here in seconds what it can take days in other systems without this special feature. Then we're gonna talk in again. We have a lot of things here, okay, that we're gonna talk a little bit, but I want to touch for a second the products invoice. Here we have a system, a products and inventory, okay? So where we can select the product that belongs to an invoice, but it have to be an invoice, a product invoice, or just go here. Right now we don't have anything here, so I'm gonna add a couple of products, and well, this one is kind of a default product that is here, and we're gonna put in the description, okay, product, or let's put something, Gizmo 1, and here you can put the price, right? So it's $10. Well, manufacturer price and whatever. This is your product, and here that you can show or hide. You can show. This is kind of a private thing, your cost, the real cost for this, right? So you make this $50, and here you put your reorder quantity. So this is the part that I said that I wouldn't have time today to touch, because it's a part that requires an additional webinar, separate webinar, but you can do a lot of things. And in essence, reorder quantity 5 and adjust stocks, and let's say that you have 20, and Oh, this is to adjust, sorry. Then let's say that you have 20 and this, you can adjust it, add or minus and order at, you know, um, at 10, and then the vendor, which usually that's why we have this high thing, because then people cannot see it. For example, right now I can enter into this area and not show that that my cost is $50. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, and I'm gonna create another product now. So I'm gonna say Gizmo 2. So I'm gonna have Gizmo 1 and Gizmo 2, and I'm gonna have a price of $20 here and 40 here, whatever. And I go into the invoice. Now, if I create an invoice and I select products, it's gonna be probably the kind of invoice that you have seen in other places, where I can select product code from here, okay, and automatically I'm gonna have the price. I can obviously change the quantity, type any quantity. It doesn't have to be limited to 10. I can type 30, for example. But I'm saying that the ones that I have in the pull down menu is up to 10. To do it with this, you can add a discount, right? Like a 5% discount. And if it's taxable or not, that would be something that you put in the product. Some products are taxable, some others are not. And this one, you see, we have stock. This one says stock 0 because I didn't actually put anything. So this one is kind of a warning you. You don't have stock, but you're still selling 30. And but this one will calculate the amount automatically. And then if you have shipping and handling, freight is taxable if check marked, and here you can put whatever you're going to charge for shipping and handling, and so let's put $10. It's based on the weight here. I'm not sure. No, I'm doing something wrong. That would be probably from here. So I'll go here and shipping and handling. I have it here. Since I sell something that doesn't have shipping and handling, but I don't use that feature. So let's see now. Probably we will need to enter a product. Let's see. I'm not sure. Yeah, when you enter a product, this one is selected automatically. So, so that's the way it works. So this is a quotation still, right? That's why you don't have a balance for this client. Okay, so you have the client here, bill to, ship to, which essentially is the same one at this point, but it could be different. Okay, so you can have here a different address. As a matter of fact, you can either copy this address with one click, or you can type directly the ship to become a different, and you can select a different client if this is not the client, because the invoice was created based on the client that is selected on the other side, which usually is correct. That's usually what you want. You come from the invoice and then you create an invoice. The invoice is correctly assigned to the client that you're coming from. But if you want to change the client, another client, so you can, put Porsche and Porsche, use this client, and notice that this one didn't change on purpose, because that would be a way for you to have a shipping different and with this. But in the case that you need to change client, like I did, find client and then use this client, I can copy all that with one click. So it's not a big deal, really. I can just copy. Okay, so once I'm satisfied with this, I can click invoice, and now it becomes invoiced. And that's why you see a balance here for this client. And these are the notes. Okay, so these are the private notes. These private notes won't print. These are the notes that will print. So if I have to say something, okay, open on Saturday, for example, if I want to put this on the invoice, I can do it. And it will show, okay? But this one won't show. If you want to preview the invoice, you can do it here, preview invoice in this little eye here in the print button at the top, and so this is how it will look. If you had a logo in your setup, and we're going to examine the setup for a second now, you will be able to have it here, okay? And so this is the basic the data that you have in the setup, and this is your invoice, bill to, and etc. Okay, open on Saturday. I should say we are open on Saturday. This one also can be changed, okay, from the setup, I believe. Let's check at the setup a second here, because we have a couple of interesting things. For example, we have the tax percentage, okay, here, that it will be used. It will be used in the invoice system, and also we have how many copies we have, and by default, invoice freight is taxable. Okay, so you want to be sure that if you're going to put that or not. Okay, and here tax, copies, and the logo if you're going to use a logo, and here is a company policy warranty. So this is the one that goes into the invoices. So okay, so far so good, I hope. And now let's talk a little bit about the partial payments and the payments and partial payments here. Before that, just for a second, because this is so simple, and to add notes to the private notes, simply click add, and automatically when you click save, it's gonna put the name of the agent and the time and the date. So I'm gonna put here these notes are private. So these notes are private, and I'm gonna click save. So I have these, and I have the time and date and who did it. So this is the area that will become red if I check the other side of this client. Well, let me try to see if this is kind of a true or not. I hope it's true. It's not the area, I lied. This is the area, the notes, and not the private notes. So when this is red, is an indication to someone, even yourself, that probably you're gonna need to do something else with this invoice. It's kind of you're gonna need to find some data from the database, or you're gonna have to do something. And so it's a warning sign that something needs to be done in addition to do the normal invoice when it's red. Okay, and so sorry, I thought it was this one, but reality is the same, because it's just a warning thing. But this one is even more easy to see, I would say, because it's in the front. Now we have partial payments. Okay, so in order to add a full or partial payment, you're gonna click add a new payment. In the add of new payment, well, before that, we probably need here. No, it's not a must, actually. It's not a must, but it will be convenient. Let me try to delete this. It will be convenient if we have a bank set up. Banks are set up, and we had it in another webinar. Is set up in the banks and checks. Okay, banks and checks, banks and credit card accounts. So I'm gonna put a fake bank here. Okay, so I have something. So at least I have a bank to use, but it's not a must. I mean, you can do the invoice thing even if you don't have a bank. Even if you do it in a cash basis, that will be okay. Okay, so now I added one, right? Payment type. Okay, how the client is paying with a check, or credit card, whatever, debit card. What is the bank that is going to be deposited to? If you don't put anything, well, obviously it won't be entered into the bank. If you put the bank, that means that it's going to be a register, it's going to be a line in the bank that that is going to reflect this payment. Okay, so now payment description, 50% advanced. Okay, maybe. And then if it was full, actually, I could go and copy the balance, you see? Copy balance to amount paid if it was paying in full. So I'm gonna put here $200, 200 down payment. Down payment. Okay, so I'm gonna put 200. Okay, and now I see the balance 580. I have the 200, and I'm okay. All right, I have a partial payment. It is not paid. It won't let you to change to pay. So if I click, you see it won't let you because it's not paid in full. Now let's do another one, and this one again was sent, if you will, to the bank account. Another way would have been, for example, to charge a credit card or ACH. If you had, if this client had a credit card and you had a merchant account with a compatible gateway like Authorize.net, Commerce Network Merchants, Payment Tech, Link Point Center, Global Gateway, First Data, etc. So if you had a compatible gateway or an ACH with our compatible company, you will be able to charge directly from here, and it will be entered. So the payment will enter automatically here and will be set to be paid to the right bank, especially you know, as part of the whole entry automatically. Since we don't have anything here to show, we're gonna do the balance just by clicking again. But this is perfectly possible. Actually, it's the desirable way to do it. You don't need to charge the full amount, by the way. So when you open, it will suggest the one that is by default that you have, and the status will be the balance. So it tries, so to speak, to charge everything, but you can change this, and you can change also this and the gateway to charge, and then you charge it. Well, right now it's not going to work, so I'm not going to do it. But you will click here, and if it's approved, if it's denied or approved, it's going to be here. It's going to tell you, it's going to let you know, and on top of that, it's going to be the payment. If it is approved, it will be assigned to the payment. So another comment on this is like, I hope that you're not overwhelmed because of so much data, but this is the thing. Even our software is not an invoice software. It can rival even advantageously with professional invoice software because the features that we have are really a set of comprehensive features that has all the needs that you may have in a real situation, and we're gonna go over a little bit about other things, commissions and recurrencies and other stuff. So just bear with me. It's a dense subject, and again, this is a master class, not to do. Probably you will need many of the things that I'm going to talk about, in the sense that they're gonna be pretty advanced. Usually, you come here, add a new invoice, type your thing, or use the snippet if it was a service invoice, and that's it pretty much. It's an invoice and you control your payments. That is the basic functionality, and it's pretty simple. You see at the right here that automatically all the invoices assigned, well, invoices or quotations assigned to this client will be shown in this area, and you will have here how much is due and how much is paid, and the quantity of things, not necessarily invoices, because it could be the combination of invoice and quotations, but the list of things that you have for a particular client. Okay, so I'm going to do the other payment. The other payment, I'm gonna be a little bit lazy, so I'm gonna put cash, and still I can put the cash in the bank or not, and I'm gonna type here balance, even though it's gonna be evident, but I'm gonna put it, and because of that, I'm gonna click copy bank to amount paid, and boom, now we have the full amount. Now it will let us to click paid, okay? So now you see it's paid. And if you don't have the rights you need to, for example, to put it as a quotation, you need to be an administrator to do that. So once it's paid, is done, and even an invoice, in order to put it back as a quotation, you need to be an administrator to do that. So now we have it paid, and then the next step, well, probably is that we want to send it to the client. So how do we send it? Well, we send it by mail, by doing a print email. We can even do an e-sign if you have one of our 4 services that we interact with, a DocuSign, e-sign, and the other 2 that I don't remember that are in the setup. Or most of the time you're going to use the email system. So in that case, you will click email, and you can see that you can do even selected invoices. So potentially these to cover the case that we talked about before, where you created 100 invoices with one click, where you can also send and create those 100 invoices with one click and send them by email. So, pretty powerful. But I'm gonna do one, and so this is if you want to put pretty much the PDF, because remember, in order to send that invoice, the invoice had to be converted into a PDF before and sent as an attachment. But also, it can be put into a special field, the attachment. So in other words, it's not an attachment in your hard drive, it's an attachment inside the invoice database. That has certainly some incredible advantages, especially when you are maybe dealing with a synchronization system, or if you have the program in the cloud, which is possible. Don't confuse, by the way, the cloud with web-based. Web-based is a software like many others out there where you don't have control, and you need to manage through a browser, so making it very slow and cumbersome to use by nature. And they are in the cloud indeed, but they are web-based software in the cloud. In the cloud means that you put something, a software, any kind of software, could be Windows or otherwise, and you put it in on a server that is not in your office. So it's in the cloud. Essentially, sometimes you don't even know where it is. It could be in Texas, could be in New York, and you don't know, but it's in the cloud with the service that you contracted, and that means that it's in the cloud. But that's not mean that it's a web-based. You can put a credit money machine or CRMRUS in the cloud and work it directly at full speed using RDP, as opposed to a web-based, which is impossible to do that. So now I'm going to click no, because at this moment I don't need that. And so now the PDF is created. PDF is created, and it's here. It's attached. In this particular case, I didn't set up an account to be the default, so I don't have any default account. I can set it up in a second, but that's why it's not here. But here we have the path, the attachment of this invoice, and if we want to see it, I will click the action button, and I will be able to see it. So this will be, remember that I could have a logo here, and so this is our invoice. Okay, open on Saturday, and the balance automatically as of today, in this case with 0 balance. So it's obviously has been paid off, and that's what they will receive. Okay, so this is an attachment. I'm going to delete it now, simply in case that we need to do other examples. Um, okay, so this one is paid, it's already sent. What other things that we can do here? First, let me show you again this for a second. We have three here, so that means the following. If I'm here, for example, and I'm gonna go to Andrew, okay, and then from Andrew I'm gonna go to the invoices with the number 1, which is the default. I see that I have one invoice here. Remember the one that we did for the services? So I have one. If I was coming from Portia, and then if I was coming from Portia, I have 3. And I have this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so I have 3 selected. Another things that are important, the recurrency. That is another feature that you don't see so frequently or ever in any other invoice system. Is the ability to have an invoice that is recurrent every month. Not to be confused with what we did before, which was creating a bunch, or potentially creating a bunch of invoices at a certain time during the month, but this is a kind of a, so it can be created automatically. And that is possible to do it like this and create it every month. Let's say the number of times that we want, and when is the next date due. And of course, if I put the next one should be the next month, and then it will take from there. But if I leave it like this, I can enter at any time into the invoice system. I don't do it automatically simply because, to save the invoice is something that in most companies are very dynamic. You are in and out. I don't know, maybe even 100 times a day is possible for different reasons. And so I don't want to do this process that it takes a few seconds every time that you enter unnecessarily. So whenever you feel, that you're gonna kind of print those invoices or whatever, you just click, and do you want to process the invoices? Yes, and that's it. It will process all the duplicates. In this case, only one had been created because it's the only one that had it. But but if we see the form view, by the way, this is the list view that we add right now, and the form view, okay? Form view, list view. You can see it in list view and have other options from here, like envelopes and export to Excel, etc. So, but in the form view, we see that this one was created. This is a duplicate, and also we see that the next date will be on the 9th automatically, and now we have 11 times more. Okay, that's why it says plus times. Okay, so that is very useful, and you can have as many as you want. They will be created, and then potentially once they are created, you can send them to the client or print them and do your normal stuff, whatever you would do. Other things that you should know. We have here, this is just an indicator. And what I mean by that is that they don't have any particular use, but it's good to know something. For example, if this is especially useful for people that do invoices for maybe products, well, whatever products and services. There is a difference when you void an invoice. That one thing that it can be canceled, another one that it was returned. Especially for products, you can cancel and return together. But you can, if it was returned, the product to you, like when you sell shampoo, and so if the product is returned, well, you have the product back. But if it was canceled because it's a service, so it's, again, this is just something that you do to see. And it's also useful in other parts that we need to have an additional time and additional webinar to do that. These invoices, I'm going to just very, very briefly tell you about it, but I'm not going to explain. But these invoices can interact with our TV, radio, magazine, marketing, manager, and in that case, these check marks will be meaningful there. So just to show you, but I'm not again not going to explain. It requires a full hour to explain that. But here in the expert view, in the marketing area, one of the many things that are not available in other versions, we have a multimedia campaign analyzer. So this multimedia campaign analyzer is designed for TV. So I'm gonna put project name. Let's put big radio. So this is the project, and so this one will interact with the invoice system to know what is. So here you will put things like your cost of the media, and it will advise you what cost is better and what times is better for the time slots that you are doing, and what are the product cost, the invoice sales, the judgment that you may have, and the sales. So you will know if the campaigns are profitable or not. Again, this is not for you right now. It's very dense. It's pretty unique. I haven't seen any other software that can that has even a TV, radio, magazine campaign manager. And okay, so other things here that sometimes are used in conjunction with the multimedia campaign analyzer, but sometimes you want to do it separately, and especially useful when you have you deliver products, okay, not services, and it's the time that it was delivered using what, courier, downloadable, FedEx Express, UPS, shipping date, delivery assigned to who's the agent, who printed that will be assigned, then delivered when, ship date that will be the same, and then shipping cost that can be also calculated somehow, has a special system here to calculate that related to the zip code. Other things here, so again, a term, whatever, 16 print date, the marketing campaign. If you had marketing campaigns used in the other area, they will be shown here. And so the thing here is like, for example, that that this particular invoice came from a particular radio program. So that would be your campaign, and then it can be analyzed in the other area and pretty much tell you if the campaign is profitable. So pretty much the millions of people that do radio campaigns, they don't know if their campaigns are profitable or not. They know only if they're doing it with one campaign, but if they're doing it with many campaigns or many times or whatever, they might be spending 50, 60, or 70% more than they should, because they don't know what times and stations or media are producing money versus the ones that are not. Then we have here another snippets for the notes. So this is the notes for the invoice, as we know already, and this one is different than the ones that we have for service. So before, okay, we had this invoice, that is a service invoice, and we have these snippets here, and we have these note snippets here. And this snippet again is to put something like we open on Saturdays. And so I can enter that with one click, so I can have a long text or something, and I can do it without having to type, just by using the snippet. Keywords, this is also interesting. Why? Because you can then find particular invoices. So this could be whatever you want. Okay, so you can put here whatever you want, but so I'm going to put here key one, just for the fun of it. And in the next one, I'm gonna select also key one. This one will be pulling from the snippet. So if I have, for example, key one, key 01, and these are keywords, so it can be whatever you want. Obviously, it can be a more meaningful thing. But point here is that if I select now, you see, I can select one, and this one I can select also one, and this one I'm going to select two. By doing that, when I do a find, like a find an invoice, I can use the keyword and say, give me the key 01. Okay, fine. See, and I found two with key 01. It's pretty powerful, especially if you use this intelligently, not like this. Refer by, the same thing. This is not related to the commission, but but this could be used even as also as the campaign, because the campaign could be a particular time in the radio. That would be a marketing campaign very specific to that time on the radio, but this one can be the whole station, for example. Or it can be a person, it can be a group of people, like a sales force, or sales force meaning your sales force, or it could be meaning a big company that is referring you a bunch of deals, while the particular person, the sales source, is here. But this is referred by, okay? And the tracking is also useful to put, UPS tracking numbers, or Federal Express, and a couple of them can be tracked just by clicking this number. So you put the tracking number, click the action button, and boom, it goes to your browser and tells you if it had been delivered. For example, if someone says, I didn't receive the product, you want to know the status, assuming that you have sent this through one of those trackable services. And so that would be pretty useful. Here we have the sales source, and so automatically. So for example, let's do it for a second here. Let's say that I'm gonna have this Andrew, or vice versa, it doesn't matter, really. I'm going to put Porsche as an affiliate, okay? So I know it's an affiliate, that's it. As simple as that. It's an affiliate. Now, Andrew, I'm going to put that is referred by Porsche, and the commission is going to be to Porsche 20%, okay? Now, here, if it's blank, it's going to be 1 by default, so I don't know. Yes, for clarity, I'm putting 1 here. And so now we have Andrew. What it means is that invoices on Andrew's, Porsche is going to get 20%. So let's see that when we create an invoice for Andrew. So I'm going to create one. So even though this is here, but this is invoice. So when it's paid, actually, it's going to create. So if I put a payment here, by the way, you see the commission here, but I can modify it for this particular invoice, kind of overriding this particular commission with something else, which is possible in real life. So instead of having to change it there, coming back and do all that, you can essentially say, well, I'm going to modify for this invoice only. So I'm going to put a new payment here, okay, and I'm going to put whatever, cashier check, and I'm going to deposit it into the bank, and I'm going to say full amount, and that's it, 0. So now when I click paid, what happens is that Porsche, which was essentially a sales source of some kind, whether there is an internal sales source like an employee, or is an external sales source like a referral person or company, can be it will a payable have been created, hopefully, for this Porsche. Let's see. Yeah. So we went to account payables, right? Account payable you see here, and this one was created, a payable for Porsche. Okay, and so it's due is 20%, which is $20.90, and this is the contact, all the data of the contact you can see right here just by hovering. the contact payor, because it's the one receiving the money. And from here, you can, and this is the memo of that particular transaction. You see commission, Andrew Fersenmeyer, invoice 1003, and the related documents, which you can go to that invoice with one click, and essentially you can create a check to pay to Portia these $20 by clicking here. Well, all of that I'm sure that you know already, because we had this previous webinar of receivables and payables, and you know all this. But it's useful to know that that it works. Okay, so we have this. We have the payables here. We have all this data. We have the products and inventory. We have the ability to go to banks from here, or even to go to this payment here. Okay, so I can go here, you see, and go to the bank register area. I could have entered from a different place, and I'm going to show you from where. But essentially, you see that this particular record, okay, with day to day, payee or payer, whatever it is in the case. In this case, it's a deposit in the bank. Invoice, so it's the defining, clarifying this, the description for the payment, the group or charge of account. That is, if you are an accountant, you might want to improve on what you put in the invoice. So this could be tracked as a charge of account. Otherwise, for the rest of us, is simply sales or simply whatever. And then recurring information, if it was, but in this case it's not applicable. Then the amount status is valid, and the reason that we see this is so much blue is because we are on top. So now we can go back from there, right? So we can go back from this one directly to the invoice back. Invoice selecting invoice from current record, which is the one, right? So this is the one that we add. So we can go back and forth very quickly and verify things, whatever is those things. But we can verify that a payment is already registered correctly, which it should, of course. But but there are other reasons that you want to go, and maybe a note that you put in the past, maybe somebody's saying something, and then you want to check if that was applied correctly in terms of a discounts or whatever, or reduction in prices, whatever is the reason. You can go back and forth with your bank. As I said before, you can go to the list view, and from here you can see the client envelope. So if you're going to send things by mail, I meant, okay, so you can print envelopes. Okay, you can print envelopes, so you can see this will be your company, this will be the client that you're sending the invoice, and print it, and you can change here depending how many you have selected, whatever. In this case, there's only one, but if you have more than one, it's possible. You see, now we are in position 3 out of 7, so you see, you can move and print different envelopes kind of with these. We'll also have specific reports for the current record or for selected records, meaning invoices, and most importantly, the sales report in detail or the sales report in summary, and even the sales report with products, which is could be pretty long, but it could be very useful. Or summary from selected invoices. Don't get this is only a rendition that is not accurate in some cases, but it gives you an idea. It's just more for aesthetic reasons than for really that it's going to be like that. We can even produce a product catalog. If you have a product catalog with invoices, with pictures, and description and stuff, is possible from the products here to have pictures, right? And some specifications and categories and all sort of things, keywords, etc. And have and produce. Again, we're going to need to have a full webinar and to print a catalog, okay? And here you see you can produce catalogs, how many per page, 4 per page, 9 per page, etc. And in this case, print or whatever. And actually, I'm going to click cancel because we don't want to do that. but it's possible. And I believe that's pretty much covers the most things. A couple of obvious things here. The duplicate, very useful though. I mean that you can duplicate an invoice, and it will be kind of a replacing, if you will, the recurrency. But in some cases, it's like a client buys the same or requests something. Okay, send me another or something like that, and you have the invoice in front of you, and you do a duplicate. Boom! Now you have a new invoice with all the data with the same structure, pricing, just with one click. It's just a matter of saving time, nothing else. Here you have the calculator, the auxiliary calendar, which is nothing, just to have your possibly to know what they, if somebody's saying, can you change me the due date? Oh, okay, let's change it to the 15th. And before you do it, in fact, that for the due date, well, you're gonna check maybe to know if that day is appropriate, maybe even though you can do it here, of course, but before doing it there, whatever reason you have. So I believe that that is pretty much the essentials of the invoice system. And as always, I thank you for your time and attention. And next week, I'm not going to say exactly what we're going to have, because we might have the synchronized credit system. If it's ready, that will be announced by email, and it's going to be something unique that you've never seen before. Very, very powerful stuff, and certainly I hope that you like it. And I thank you all, and see you next Friday. Bye bye.